Hello there. Welcome to Zephyr's BI and Analytics, where we learn by building BI project. So this is actually a completion video to our merchandise sales summary reports. If you've not seen part one of the video, you can actually check on the channel. You'll find part one of the video. In part one of the video, we'll actually cover the first page of the report, which is what I have on my screen right now. This is the first page of the report. So on this part two of this video, we're just going to be looking at the page two of the report briefly. We're not going to spend much time because we've actually done most of the work already. So let's quickly look at how the page two look like. So this is actually the page two. You can actually do something entirely different in your own page two of your report. You can do something different, but I'll just walk you through how we can actually do this very quickly. So I'll navigate back to our report now. This is page one. Oh, actually made a duplicate of this page already. I made a duplicate of the page already. So I'll right click and just delete this, right? I'll delete this duplicate. So what I basically did was just stay on this product performance, this is our page one, right click, and I just said duplicate page, right? That's what I did. So what I want to do is just highlight everything I have done here, because everything I have up there stays the same, and just delete this. So everything I have up here stays the same. The next thing I'll quickly do is change the background image, right? Because we don't want these icons we have here. So I would expand my visualization, come to format. I'll simply navigate to Canva background, change. So I have it somewhere in my images. The background image for page two is similar, but just without the icon. So yeah, so remember that this background image, you can actually find it. There's a link attached to the video description to your OneDrive. You'll find the background image there also. So this is actually page two. So let's quickly look at what we need to do in page two. We're still going to be using our parameters, right? We're going to be using our parameters. So basically for page two, we just to create a table. First, we have a matrix table, yeah, right? That's looking at the different regions performance. So this is where you can actually explore. I've seen some of these reports. Some of them, some persons actually use map to visualize their region performance and all that. So you can actually still opt to use a map. It's entirely up to you. You mustn't follow what we have here, right? You can actually explore, do something different. But for the sake of this video, right, I just have a matrix table. I will expand my data. I would go to data. I have the I should have something about location, right? Or order, yes, which is more like order location, right? So I'll drop it on the rows. So I have the different order location. Now I'm going to go get my parameter. We want to get my parameter, right? We have a parameter here. I'll get my parameter KPI. I'll drop it on the values, right? I'll drop my parameters on the values. Don't worry, we'll sort this out shortly. You know, we've actually handled this already. So you can see that we're looking at orders. So orders is giving us the total orders and the month-on-month orders. So one thing we also want to do, we want to look at this across the different product categories. So on my column, I'll come to data and drop the product category on column. So I have something like this. It's not so nice. So I'll expand this, right? The next thing I'll do now is come to my KPI and select my filter, right? Filter. Is it filter we need now? Let's see if it's filter. Yeah, so filter. So the filter is actually KPI and month on month, but now we actually want just to see the KPI. So I'll select KPI and lock this in. So this is what we have. So we basically have the table. So if we switch from orders to quantity, you should see quantity also. If you switch from quantity to ship charge, you should see it also. If you switch from ship charge to rating, you should see it also. If you switch from this to sales, you should also see it. So it's up to you now to just format this table, right? Format this table. So I'll select this. I'll just do a simple formatting for the sake of this video. I want everything to be short. So I'll come to grid. I'll scroll down to where I have options, right? First, I'll come to this style. I'll make sure the style is none, right? From this compact, I'll change it to tabular, right? Then grid, I'll come to options. I'll increase the padding a bit, right? To 2, maybe 1. Increase the font size to maybe 12. I'll leave it at 11, right? So it will fit on this very space I have here. I think that will be it, right? That'll be it. Then I can actually just expand this a bit and expand this to show the total just a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. and finally a little bit. So this is actually our table, but just to make sure that the table doesn't look this plain, right, and dry. So we're currently looking at sales. I can come to format, cell element, right? I can either use a background format, right? You can format using the background color. Some persons sometimes they use data bars, right? You can use data bars. So whichever one you like. For me, I think I'll just turn on the background colors for now. So you can actually click on the conditional formatting to change the background color here. Can change it here. Maybe you want to use a different color entirely. You can actually go ahead and change it. So this is entirely up to you. So one thing is you've just formatted the background color, and the conditional formatting you've done now is applied to the sales only. So if I change sales to orders, there's still no conditional formatting. So I probably have to stay in orders. Now that I'm in orders, I have to go back again and apply cell element and apply background color conditional formatting to orders, right? Yeah, so same thing applies to quantity. Now I'm in quantity, sales. So I have to come back again, right? Apply the same cell element, conditional formatting, turn on the background color, right? Same thing. So when you come to ship charge, you're definitely going to do the same thing. Cell element to ship charge, put on the background color also. So eventually, if you go to rating, you're also going to do the same thing, right? So put on the background color. So one thing I would do for rating, I can actually do something like this, right? I know when the value is actually low for rating, it's actually bad. So I can say I want the rating to be red. Then I want, if the values are actually high, I want them to be green, something like this. Maybe for rating, and click on OK. This doesn't look good. Don't do this, please. This doesn't look good. Don't do this. This doesn't look good. I didn't try it actually before now, but what we can just do, pick your white color and uh let's see how this looks like. I still don't like this actually. We can create a conditional formatting to actually say if the rating is one, a particular color, if the rating is two, a particular color, if it's three, a particular color, if it's four, a particular color, and if it's five, a particular color, right? We can do something like that. Let's just do that, right? Let's try something like that. Let's try something like that. So I'll right click on this DAX table and say new measure, right? I'll say new measure. I can just say rating color and I do something. We can actually use maybe two or three, right? We can use the switch function to just say switch true, comma, if average rating, right, is less than 2, we want this to be red, right? If it's less than 2, we want it to be red, right? If the average rating, let's say, is less than or equal to 2. Now, if it's greater than 2, right? If it's greater than 2 and less, the average rating now is less than or equal to, let's say, 3.5, then we want this to be yellow. And finally, it can be green if it's not any of these values, right? So with this rating color we have here, we can actually apply the conditional formatting here and just come to background color, right? Change this from gradient to feed value and select the rating color we just created and click on OK. So we should have something like this, but I'm missing some concept, right? So the red, easily you see the red. This green color is not so nice, so I'll probably use a different green color. You can actually use the color code. So basically we can use a color code in this case, right? I didn't cover this thing well, so we'll do it again. I can pick a chart, right? I can just come to insert shape. I really don't need this shape though. So I just want to put a color on this shape, something like this, right? So I can copy this color code. Then I can come to my rating color, replace this green with this color code. So if it's greater than, let's say, 2.1, right? Greater than or equal to 2.1, and but less than 3.5. Okay. Oh, I didn't spell the yellow well. That's why I didn't get that color. So now I can actually just improve on that, right? I can select this, come to my options, select yellow. Yeah, probably want to use this yellow color, and I put the color code here. Then for the red, I can take a lighter red. You can actually see that the color is being applied already. Then the red, you can actually see is being applied already. So I can take red, something light, not as dark as the one I have there. Maybe this. So this is entirely up to you. I'm sure you get the concept of what I'm trying to do. So you have something like this. So immediately I see the red, I know that the rating for that particular region and that particular product category is actually really poor. So that's the concept. So you can actually switch to sales. You can switch from sales to orders and all that. So you can actually put a title here, product performance across the different region also. Now, let's quickly look at what we're trying to recreate here. You can see here, it's actually about the reviews and the summary. So if we come to the data, right? If we come to the data, go to data, you can actually see we have reviews, different reviews here. So basically what was done was a review bucket was created. Based on these reviews we have here, we categorize them into different categories. So um on the OneDrive, right? On the OneDrive attached to the video description, the month-on-month measure there, and this very measure that was used to classify this review or categorize this review into these different buckets is also there. So you find it there on the document. So I'll simply just come to table view, right? I'll come to table view. So you can actually see this is the review buckets here. We have the different reviews into categorized into the review buckets. So I'll just copy this code, right? I'll copy this code, right? I'll navigate back to the report. I'll come to table. I'll just say we want to create a new column, and I'll just paste the review buckets, and I'll commit this also. So once this is done, you see that look at the first review we have here. The product was affordable here compared to other brands. Now look at what this review bucket is saying, good value for money. That's just the basics for which the review bucket was created. So now basically what was done next was just to bring a clustered bar chart, right? You bring in a clustered bar chart, right? Then you then have to look at your first you want to look at your review bucket now. Get the review bucket that was created, then also go grab your parameter, right, which is your KPI. Also grab your KPI. So for the KPIs, let's be sure we have it in the right place. So it's not in the right place, so I'll grab the KPI, drop it on the x-axis, right? So you see it this way. Now on the legend also we have the status. So in our data, we have international and local or so get the status and drop it on the legend. So this is basically what was done there, right? This is what was done there. So you can go ahead, format, and do any other thing you want to do. You can come to order. This is looking at orders now. So you look at sales, you see the sales. If you change this to quantity, you also see it via quantity. That's basically what was done. So let's look at what was done on the other end again. So here we just have, okay, so we actually have the rating that was given to each of the products. So the rating was categorized into poor, fair, good, very good, and excellent. So that's pretty easy. right? That's pretty easy. There should be a new column that was created for that. So let's look at it. So we have the custom rating. Yeah, so this is the custom rating column. You just a switch function to say the rating. If the rating is 1, it should be poor. If it's 2, fair. If it's 3, good. If it's 4, very good. Else, excellent. So I'll just copy this code also. I'll just navigate back to the report we're trying to create. We're here. So data. We'll add one more column. And I'll just paste this, right? And I'll commit this also. Paste commit. So one thing I'll do on the custom rating, right? I'll come down and say I want to sort the custom rating column, which is a new column. I want to sort it using the rating itself, the rating. So I can go from either poor to excellent or excellent to poor, whichever way I want to do. So now here I can also bring in a clustered column chart, right? Now I can add my custom rating. I can add my custom rating. Now this is a clustered column chart. I can then add my custom rating. This is my custom rating. Next, I would scroll down. My custom rating is actually on my x-axis. So on my y-axis, I would want to add my KPI again. That's my KPI. That's my KPI parameter. I'll drop it on my y-axis. So I have something like this, right? So you can actually go ahead and also format this. Remember, we're looking at quantity actually. So you see the quantity that was poor sales, fair sales, good, excellent, and all. So if you come to sales, you see the sales that are actually good, excellent, and all. So that's basically all. The last thing that we need to just look at quickly is just this code here that is actually referencing the rating, right? This is actually the review. This is actually just a text, what will I call it? A text, not a text box, a card visual showing the review, right? So if you come here and just bring in a card visual here, just pull in a card visual, extend, and just come to the data, select the review. So this is just the review. This review is coming from the review we actually had there that we already categorized. So we can just reduce this to 25, average product, right? So this is just a review. But what we want to quickly look at now is actually this star we have here, right? This code is actually on the same notebook document, right? You see there, you see the code there. This is actually the written, I think this code is the rating field, right? It's just a simple code. You look at it there, you see it there, so you don't need to worry about the code also. You find it there. So it's the rating field, right? So, but one of the things that was done before the rating field was implemented was to convert the rating to percent form, right? So if you come to the table, you see that the rating was actually converted to percent. This is the rating percent, right? I just copy this. It's very simple. It's just a single line of code. So I'll come here. I'll say I want to create a new column. This should be rating percent, right? I'll just drop it. That's the rating percent by just multiplying the column by 0.20. So if its rating is 1, that automatically be 20% also. So I'll just commit this. So I'll commit this. So that's done. Next, let me go grab the code for the rating field, right? So once that is done, we now have the code for the rating field. This is the rating field. So average data rating percent. So I'll just copy the code for the rating field. Remember, this code is already there for you to copy. You don't need to worry about it anymore. So I can navigate back to the report again and just scroll up on the DAX table, new measure. There's a measure that is actually missing. So when I say rating field, this we don't have this yet. So I'll just copy this and Control C. So when I commit this code, we don't have this average rating field. written out yet. So I'll also right click on the tax table, new measure, and just paste this. So we are good. So now I can bring a card visual, right? I'm bringing a card here, right? And just expand. Then I can bring the written field that we just did now. So this is the written field, right? This is the written field. So we can actually go ahead and change the color using the color value. So this should be probably this color we have here. So you have something like this. I can come turn up the category label. Just reduce this. So basically the idea is for you to read a product review and rating before you go purchase the product, right? So you can bring in a slicer, here, and this slicer can actually be the product slicer. So we actually have the product. So on the data, right, you can actually just select the product ID because we don't have the name. So this is the product ID. I'll format these slicer settings to drop down. So you can actually select a particular product and you read the reviews about that product. But one thing I'll do, right, I wouldn't want this slicer to interact with any other thing in this report. I just want it to interact with what we have here. So I'll have the slicer selected, come to format, edit interaction. I don't want you to interact with this. I don't want you to interact with this. Yeah, maybe you should interact with this. But for everything I have up here, I don't want you interacting with them. I'll select the slicer again. I don't want you to interact with this. I don't want you to interact with this either, with this either. So we're good. I'll go back to format, uncheck edit interaction. So the I can read the product review, right? I can read the reviews and the rating, right? So this is a product slicer. I'll just come to format, general effects. I'll turn off the background. I'll go to visual values, scroll down to background. I'll just make this maybe white or whichever color. So basically I'm trying to say select the product, right? So this header should be select the product in the reasons, right? So select the product. So you can select a particular product, then you get to read the reviews and rating. You see the different reviews about the product. One thing we can also do, right, is make a copy of this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Don't worry, I know what's going on. I'll remove the product ID, right? I would replace it with the review. That's the review. I'll just drop the review there, right? So when I select a particular product, I can read the reviews about that product. You can see. So one thing also, this review, right? I don't want it to interact with anything on this chart too, on this page. So I'll come to format, edit interaction. I don't want you to interact with this, with this, with this, with this, with this, with this, with this. No, yeah, with this. I don't want you to interact with this also, with this. I still don't want you to interact with this. So this is fine. So I'll check the edit interaction again. So now I can select a particular product, right? I can start reading the different reviews about the product. Start reading the different reviews about the product. Different reviews about the product. So that's the idea behind it, right? That's the idea behind it. So you can actually go for something different entirely, apply some formatting to this page, do something different entirely. It's entirely up to you. I'll save this. Like I said, everything you need is already on the OneDrive also to create this report. And one more thing, you can add any other thing you want to add. If you want to add more pages, it's fine. But don't forget to rename this, right? This should be something about um, region, and then maybe reviews and ratings, something like this. Then also don't forget to add a page navigator, right? Don't forget to add a page navigator to your report. I can bring this here and just come to insert buttons, right? Navigator, page navigator. So we have two pages. Just drop your page navigator here. So you can navigate between the two pages. You can format this whichever way you like, right? Format it whichever way you like. Basically, when you select, you come to style. On default, what do you want? Normally, typically what I do on default, I can change this to DIN, increase the size to be 12, right? On default, the color can be black, that's fine. Then the fill color, I always want it to be gray, so it look like, okay, that page is not selected, it's grayed out. Probably select this, so you see it's grayed out. I'll go back, change the font color also to a darker gray, so you know that that's grayed out. Next, I come to when it's over. When you hover on it, it's the DIN. I just increase the size a bit. That's all. Then I come to the field, I make it white. So you get something like this. Then finally, on selected, I just increase the size also. DIN, DIN, I'll make it 14. Then this is why I change the field to probably something that would make someone know this page is selected. You try something else, please. Don't use this color. Probably try something. Then probably come to font color or change it to black. Yeah, something like this, right? So you can actually tell that you're on product performance. So I can copy this, right? I can copy this. Control C. Come to page 2. I'll paste it in page 2 so you can see that you're looking at reviews and rating. So with this, we've actually come to the end of this report, right? I said it's going to be brief, just a brief summary. You can go ahead, add any other thing you want to add, improve on it. You can also leave your feedback on the video, right? Leave your feedback. If there's anything you would have done differently, let me know. Okay, so with that, we've actually come to the end of this report. Don't forget to subscribe and also turn on your notification to always stay updated when interesting projects like this are uploaded.